Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very inspiring show coming right up with none other than Matt and Phil-Letten, the Vegan Brothers. And they're here today to share with us their new book, Vodka Is Vegan. Now, have you ever wondered about becoming vegan and just not sure how to go about it? Both Matt and Phil have transformed their lives by adapting a vegan lifestyle. Popular bloggers, health and fitness consultants, and animal rights activists, they've been featured in mainstream media outlets such as Vice, Business Insider, Fast Company, CW, and The Gardein, just to name a few. So let's welcome to the show, Matt and Phil.
Thanks so much for having us, Marianne. We're really excited to be here. Thank you.
Oh, what a joy it is to have the both of you. Oh, my goodness, loved your book. Once I picked it up, I couldn't put it down. Half the time I was just laughing through it, but it totally makes sense. I can understand why it's such a great resource for so many people.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for the kind words. And, I mean, we wrote this book to sort of usher in the age of the new vegan. So in the past, there was kind of more of this, maybe more of this stereotype associated with vegan eating. But today, we have people from all walks of life exploring this lifestyle, and we have celebrities and professional athletes going vegan in droves. And we see a big reason that this is happening is because nearly everyone is opposed to animal abuse. And when they learn about the horrific abuses these animals endure before they become meat, they're horrified and they want to begin making changes to their diet. And so that's basically the reason we wrote it.
Well, and so why don't both of you share with us, because for our listeners that are new to you and new to your story, at what point did you both decide to become vegan yourselves?
Yeah, so we both grew up eating meat for, still a majority of our lives. I didn't begin learning about this info until I was 17. Matt was, I think, about 24. And yeah,
early in our lives, we were actually and we grew up about an hour outside of Detroit. And early in our lives, we were raised to almost sort of view vegetarians and vegans in a negative way. So we did not I actually remember growing up and actually not liking vegetarians and vegans, which actually was a problem when Phil went vegan because it was Clash of the Titans in our household.
Yeah, so I had no idea. Neither of us had any idea what was going on to animals. We're just, eating meat at every single meal. And then all of a sudden I came across this video that showed how the animals are treated. It showed the animals confined in cages so small they can barely move, mutilated without painkillers and brutally slaughtered. And it kind of just shocked me because it was I'm eating meat, basically every meal. And I don't think I'm a bad person. I claim to care about animals, but it's this is happening. And it's I didn't go vegan overnight, but I began to make changes. And in the beginning, I sort of took on maybe a more abrasive persona because I was just so shocked, and so it kind of became battle, Clash of the Titans with me and Matt. I'm kind of the more abrasive, angry vegan, stereotypical angry vegan of the past, and he's the angry anti-vegan meat eater. And we're
pushing bacon in his face and then eating it and
yeah.
stuff like that, right? So I was kind of I was the major jerk. People,
yeah.
If you think you don't like vegetarians, I'm no, dude, you didn't meet me before. I really didn't.
But then, eventually I sort of came around and I sort of calmed down after reading some things about, effective communication and stuff like that. And I sort of took a more laid back approach, and that brought his defenses down. So I'm more laid back. His defenses come down, and eventually he saw a video that affected him, and he jumped on board as well. So he became vegan. That also didn't happen overnight. It happened over the course of maybe a couple of years. And
I think it's kind of we actually feel like our stories are a little bit of a microcosm of the world, and that's why we feel like our stories are resonating so much with everyone from mainstream America to people who are in big cities, everywhere. It's resonating because we're these regular guys, red-blooded American guys who grew up eating meat, fishing, and just thinking nothing of it. But we also identified as animal lovers. And for me, I used to have an abrasive approach to vegetarians and vegans, but I went through an internal transformation of my own where I was diagnosed with pre-hypertension when I was 20 years old. When I was going back to college, I got my yearly physical, and my doctor said, we need to put you on blood pressure medication. And that freaked me out. And it was later that year where I said, you know what, I need to do something about this. I ended up losing 100 pounds. And in the process, that really changed. Obviously, I had a physical transformation, but it caused me to change inside. And I started to think about what I wanted out of life and what was really going on. And maybe I've been lied to about some things. Maybe there's something I don't know about. And that's really where my heart was allowed to be open. And so, Phil had become a better communicator at that point. And so, like, the stars aligned, and eventually he got me. And I was like, dude, you're right. Like, I can't do this anymore. I saw the ways that animals were treated on a couple videos, and I realized that, like anyone else who sees those videos, when you see them, you're like, dude, I can't stand behind that. And so I did the same thing everyone else does, and I went vegetarian and then vegan eventually.
And then we got both our parents, they went vegan. We got cousins, aunts, uncles on both sides of the family, friends,
roommates who used to put half a cow in their freezer. So it's been a crazy journey.
Well, it sounds like your transformation has impacted so many people in such a positive way, and I get it. I mean, I've seen some of these videos, and they're horrific. And then, my dog has recently passed, but I mean, when you have an animal that is like part of your family, it's really tough to then also go, okay, well, I'm okay with watching these videos and purchasing, like bacon, like you were saying, and then being okay with that,
It's true. In fact, we touch a lot, and we talked about this as we were writing the book, and we ended up really feeling like we needed to put it in. We talked a lot about our relationships with pets, and very sorry to hear about the loss of yours, because we all know, everyone who's listening to this knows, pets are family, and that's how it is in America, and largely that's how it is in the world. And we grew up with dogs, and we've had two of our family pets that have passed as well, and I have a dog, Peyton. And we started to realize, like, once your eyes are kind of open, you start to realize, holy crap, I've kind of been treating. I claim to be an animal lover, but I'm not treating them all the same. And so I think that that we're all waking up to it, and we're slowly transitioning that way. And the amazing thing is, like, this miraculous stuff is happening in, like, Silicon Valley and in food tech, where, like, really everyone's realizing, the billionaires like Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos and the Google guys, they're all now funding these companies that are actually eliminating the need for animals at all, with a lot of the plant-based proteins and then clean meat and things like that, which we also cover in the book. It's an amazing time to be alive, and everyone's moving in the direction of compassion, health, and just better living. I mean,
we've even got two of the largest meat companies in the world, Tyson Foods and Cargill, who even they've begun investing heavily in plant-based protein, and I think Tyson Foods is even launching their own plant-based line. So I mean, the world is really changing in a massive way, and every day it just gets better and better and better, and more people are just jumping on board.
Well, and I'm so glad about that, and I can understand, like, the stereotype, like, maybe 20 years ago that vegans had.
Yep.
I mean, it was, people who, maybe ate weird stuff that tasted horrible and maybe lacked good hygiene, and they would call them granolas, So you would see these kind of things, and so it already has a negative connotation. You guys are really letting people know, especially with your book, Vodka Is Vegan, that it's not like that at all.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, it was a thing, and that's the thing. Life is this crazy journey. I think the people who they went vegan, 20 years or more ago, I mean, like, they were pioneers, and they're trying to figure this stuff out.
And to all the OGs out there, we respect you.
Yeah,
guys,
we respect
you. Did
guys.
it before.
You did it way
before.
You did it before
it was cool.
Yeah, but there was a stereotype associated with it. Whether it's like hippie or whatever. And the food, I mean, back in the day when when it was barely anybody doing it, the food was not good. But nowadays, it really has shifted. I mean, you got people from all walks of life. I mean, you got police officers, military, investment bankers, pilots, stay-at-home moms, pastors.
It's no longer this thing where you look at a social circle and you're like, oh, there's the vegan, because the reality is probably 25% or more of those people in the circle are vegan, and you can't tell who they are by how they look, because it's pervasive in culture at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and you got celebrities and professional athletes going vegan in droves. I mean, it's getting crazy.
It's the tipping point.
We're getting there.
Well, hey, that's a good thing. And so for our listeners that maybe don't know the difference between vegetarianism and vegan, can you explain a little bit of what that is for us?
I mean, in all honesty, like I almost don't even like to draw a distinction. I guess if you have to, it would be vegetarian is more just straight up focused on meat and fish, whereas vegan is all animal products. But we like to view this like don't view eating vegan as this all or nothing proposition. Like we want to give people permission to explore this lifestyle as little or as much as they want, keeping in mind that the ingredients that cause the most amount of animal suffering are meat, fish, dairy, and eggs. Like for meat and dairy production, animals are confined in cages so small they can barely even move. They're mutilated without painkillers, and they're brutally slaughtered. So keep that in mind. But it's also like it's not this all or nothing proposition. Like you don't need to go 100% vegan overnight. Maybe start out like Meatless Mondays is this really big thing where people are eating vegan every single Monday. Even if you just eat one vegan meal a week or whenever you go out to eat, like maybe see if they have like a veggie burger or something on the menu. There's a lot of restaurants, chain restaurants and fast food restaurants that are even, jumping on board with offering vegan options.
We actually think that, in the past, the distinction and compartmentalization of like hardcore defining what a vegan is or what a vegetarian is actually just does a disservice to everyone. Because a lot of times in the psychology of change, when we try to like make people feel like they have to go all or nothing, a lot of times they just feel like it's like you're not going to tell someone to climb Mount Everest in a day. It's just not going to happen. And so we like to look at things as a continuum. I mean, life's a continuum. We're just trying to figure things out as we go and try to improve ourselves every day. So, rather than saying like, hey, you're a vegetarian, you're a vegan, you're a flexitarian. It's like we're down with all those names, but we really think that everyone's just kind of moving this direction. And that's why we say if you're opposed to animal abuse, you're already 90% vegan. Your diet's just the last 10%.
And that I was very impressed with. I love those stats, because for a lot of people, if they're already doing kind of 90% already, then it's like, hey, let's look at this 10% and see how we can make adjustments.
Exactly, and it's like it's not even from there. It's not an all or nothing thing. Like it's just like let's explore the food a little bit. Maybe next time you go to the grocery store, buy whatever you normally buy, but maybe throw in some vegan products. Maybe you can throw in a couple packages of Beyond Burgers by Beyond Meat, which is a company that's funded by billionaires like I think Richard Branson, I think Bill Gates as well. There's another company called Gardein. There's another company, Impossible Foods. If you can find that that's on the menu at White Castle now, as well as in the Beyond Burgers at TGI Fridays. Like it's blowing up. But it's it's all about just exploring the food and going as far as you want to take it.
And it's like when you look at it that way, a lot of times when people are looking at changing, it's daunting. And so we're making it straight up, dude. We're making it fun. Like, enjoy the party. Like, we're having a party here. Like, this is not a sacrifice. Like, maybe there's some people with the stereotype of the past where, like, you look at them and you're like, okay, it doesn't look like you're enjoying life very much. Well, I mean, we love life. We love life more and more every day, and we just welcome everyone in to, like, explore life with us and have fun.
Well, and was that kind of part of the main inspiration behind writing this book, is not only to get the information out there, but to let people know how much fun a vegan lifestyle can be?
Oh, total. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, and it's also pointing out what a vegan lifestyle has become. Yeah. Like in the past, maybe it was more of a sacrifice, and it was hard, and the food wasn't very good, and nobody else was doing it. And if you were hanging out, people were different. Maybe they were weird. But nowadays, I mean, you have all these different celebrities, like Beyonce, even doing it. You've got professional athletes, like half the Tennessee Titans are vegan.
Yeah.
So it's like it's becoming the cool thing to do. Like really, like if you're in a lot of different social circles, like even if like not everyone's vegan, like if you're vegan, like everyone's like, oh wow, you're vegan. Wow, they think you're cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the way things have shifted. I mean, we have a friend, Griff Whalen. He's a wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders, and he's been telling us a lot how it is just infiltrating the elite levels of sports right now. So like professional sports is undergoing a massive transformation, and a lot of the owners of these franchises are now starting to cater to these athletes who are demanding vegan food in like the cafeteria and at their training camps and stuff like that.
Well, and so for our listeners who want to start implementing that 10%, what are some tips that you guys would like to share with them?
I mean, I think the first one, and we did already kind of bring it up, but it's something I like to hammer home with people, is because it's sort of been viewed in the past as eating vegan is this all or nothing proposition. It's this black and white thing. The first thing it's like we need to get out of people's head is like eating vegan is not an all or nothing proposition. There's a lot of middle ground between what you're eating now and 100% vegan. So, getting that idea in your head, and then also keeping your why in your head, like staying so that you're able to stay motivated. So like if you're ever in a situation where maybe it's like it gets a little hard or whatever, you have your why in your head. So whether that's, you saw a video and you're just horrified by the way that they're treating animals, like that's your why. Keep that in your head. But for other people, it may be that, they want to help the environment. For others, it could be that they care about their health. They want to lose weight. Maybe they want to decrease their risk of, heart disease, cancer, strokes. Whatever your reason is, just keep that reason in your head at all times, and that'll guide you and keep you on course.
And the last thing that we really look at is we like, a lot of focus in the past was on, it was accidentally on making people feel like making the switch is somehow this difficult thing where you're changing your plate completely. Yeah. When we look at a plate, we can basically keep your plate the same. So, most people are not eating gourmet, elaborate cuisine on a daily basis, which there's nothing wrong with that because like that stuff is delicious. But mostly we're rushing from here to there and we eat the same basic thing all the time. And when we look at someone's plate, we can typically tweak one thing, switch it up. Your plate looks exactly the same, but you just happen to be having a vegan meal. And so, for example, a lot of people eat something like, chicken breast, broccoli, and rice. And all we're going to need to do there to actually have you eating vegan is swap the chicken breast for Gardein chicken scallopini, put 2 of those on your plate, and literally it looks and tastes exactly the same, and you're not doing the whole animal cruelty thing anymore. And that gives you a chance to explore it a little bit without feeling like you're even trying that hard.
And when he mentioned Gardein chicken scallopini, Gardein is the name of the company, and the chicken scallopini it's a vegan chicken scallopini. And I mean, you can get it. It's anywhere. It's anywhere in the country, like at all the supermarkets. Yep.
Well, that's great because people can pick that up anywhere, and just add that and start trying those out. I know. I think one of the burgers you guys talked about, they had that on a recent show where they were talking about that they were feeding it to people in a restaurant and they had no idea that it was a vegan burger. I mean, it was because they had scienced the heck out of it, and it was all vegan.
It's amazing. I mean, we've had the opportunity to tour Beyond Meat, which is one of those companies. Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods are the two companies that have really come out with these amazing burgers. And
we talked about them in the book too, both of those companies.
We do, and it's true. I mean, it's been a game changer. It's been an absolute game changer because now we're not talking about, we're no longer talking about making do. We're actually talking about the money is pouring in to plant-based food where it is becoming healthier and better than, the meat-based options. So it's just taken over at this point because the money's pouring in.
Yeah. And they're seeing that's where people want to go.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, like, like we say, like we're pro people coming in however they want, and people are coming at it from a lot of different directions. But there are so many angles that are leading people to this inevitability that they're going more plant-based because everyone's doing it without even realizing it. Now that they're listening to this show, they're actually like, holy crap, I am doing that. And so, we're just like, dude, yeah, come on in. Like, you're part of the group. Like, just let's have a little more. Keep going.
Well, and of course they'd want to pick up the book Vodka Is Vegan so that they get I just had so much fun reading the book, and there are so many parts in here. It's like some of the language you guys use, it's funny as all get out, but at the same time it makes sense. It's like, why wouldn't I do this?
We could listen to feedback like that all day about our book. and it means so much to us because this is a labor of love that we've really poured our hearts into for the past couple of years. And this is our first book, and we are beyond excited about what we've come out with and what we've put into it. And so, to be at this place where it's actually, hitting people and they're loving it, it just means a lot to us, and it keeps us going.
Well, I know this book is flying off the shelves, and there's no wonder as to why that's happening, because it really is a great resource. and you've got even, some amazing tips on, how to be a better person. We'll just put it that way in here as well. But it really is a rounded view of looking at not only in the environment and animal, just animal cruelty and treating animals better, but also treating our bodies better. And I really appreciate how you guys, it probably took you a while to get everything in here, but it's so well laid out and so easy to read. It was like, gosh, I'm also implementing some of this stuff right now.
Oh, we love hearing that.
I mean, to actually get the feedback that the book is doing, like, it's read exactly the way we wanted it to be read. It's read. It's coming out exactly the way we wanted it to come out. It just means so much to us because this is a book that we wrote for everyone. I mean, vegans can read this book and they're going to get something out of it. People who aren't vegan yet, they can read this book and they're going to get something out of it. Some of it's going to be different. Some of it's going to be the same, but it's written for everyone. And, we're two guys who have been on this journey of life, and life is a journey. And we're all just trying to figure it out. And you can see in our stories, we really talk about the ways we've screwed up, the different types of people we've been along the way. And I think a lot of people can see themselves in us, and we see ourselves in them. And we're just like, hey, guys, there's more that we have in common than not. So let's just all learn from each other and explore this together, figure it all out.
Yeah, it's like we definitely aren't into like beating people over the head with anything. Like we're just this is our book. Here's what's going on, and we want to encourage people. We don't want to make decisions for other people. We don't want to force our views on other people. We want to encourage people to figure this out for themselves. And what we found is when we encourage people to figure this out for themselves, most people are opposed to what's going on and how these animals are treated, and they want it to stop, and they begin making changes.
Well, I can understand completely. I mean, from reading your book, and like 20 years ago or whenever they started coming out with the rice cracker thing, those things were awful back in the day. It was like
Yeah.
It was so bad. And so, you would see these, I've always been pulled to kind of live a more, vegan-based lifestyle. And at the time, it just wasn't working out for me too much with
totally.
Those kind of options. But nowadays, it's so easy, and your book really made it easy for me to go, gosh, okay, well, I could start adding some of these, not that I'm going to start adding Oreos to my diet, which are vegan, but I could start adding other things to my diet that substitute that meat option.
People have heard the lies. People have heard the lies for too long that being vegan is somehow difficult. And, the fact is, we have to show gratitude where it's due. And for several decades, what we call the meat and dairy industrial complex has done a very good job of painting a picture to us as American consumers to try to make us believe that, milk is somehow good for us and meat is somehow good for us and necessary. But the unfortunate truth for those guys is, and we appreciate them for what they did. They helped feed us for a period of time, but we've realized the truth that it's actually doing more harm than it is good for us. And also we're realizing that as people, we don't want to be responsible or have our hand in the cruelty that it's inflicting on so many animals. And the amazing thing is that it's so stinking easy. And we're proof of that because we grew up thinking vegetarians were weirdos. And, here we are.
And I want to say it's like one of the things that I don't even think I ever even thought of that I'm most surprised about happening is that I back in the day, I'm even sort of viewing it as, this us versus them with the meat industry. Whereas what it's sort of become is like, it's almost like vegans and the meat industry are coming together and partnering, where the meat industry is now, they're coming over to our side. With Tyson Foods and Cargill coming over and investing in companies like Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods and moving more towards plant-based options.
No, that really is a switch,
even the meat industry itself is going vegan.
It's amazing. That's crazy. You're so right.
Well, that's so important because, my goodness, just from the animal aspect alone, but, and I'm sure it impacts the people that work in these places, and they're wanting to also, contribute to a more, just an environment that's going to help our environment overall.
Oh, for sure. And we're friends with a few people who have filmed. They've done the different organizations. They go undercover in these factory farms and in these slaughterhouses. And we're friends with a couple of people who have done that. And they in order to go undercover, they take jobs at these facilities. And I mean, straight up, I mean, the stories that they tell. I mean, it's insane to think about someone doing that on a daily basis, and like what that's going to do to you psychologically.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just in an environment where you're just brutalizing animals, like that's, and then you're coming out and you're interacting in society.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean,
so I mean,
imagine what that's going to. I mean, that's not
helpful. It's not helpful, and we recognize that too, and we have empathy for everyone involved in this process. A lot of people, let's face it, a lot of people they get stuck in those situations because of necessity. And, we think that this is part, there's so many different ways to make a positive impact in the world and create a better future and better living environment for ourselves, our children, and all of that. And this is just one of those aspects. And there's a lot that can be tied to people moving more and more towards a plant-based lifestyle. And it's going to improve everything for everyone.
Well, it's so encouraging to hear that these companies are making changes because this is what people want. Obviously the consumer saying, hey, these are the products we want to invest our time, and energy, and money in. Either get behind it or get left behind.
Amen. You hit the nail right on the head.
That'll preach.
Amazing.
Well, and so, Matt and Phil, what final thoughts would you like to leave our listeners with today?
I mean, to me, it's like, man, I feel like we covered a lot. I mean, if our book Vodka Is Vegan, it's out, and it's you can learn more about it at book.veganbros.com. But it's also available anywhere books are sold.
And we're two guys from a small town in the Midwest, and we're just like you guys. And if you guys are like, hey, these guys actually sound kind of interesting, maybe they're making some points, pick up the book and check it out because we think you'll actually like it.
Oh, well, your book is in our book club for the month, and I highly suggest everyone go and pick up their own copy of Vodka Is Vegan. Matt and Phil, thank you both so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Thanks, Marianne.
Well, Matt and Phil, it's been such a pleasure to spend this time with you. You guys are such inspiration for people that are looking to transform into a vegan lifestyle. Again, if you'd like to connect with them personally, you can at their website, veganbros.com. And also don't forget to pick up their book, Vodka Is Vegan, available at all major retailers, Barnes & Nobles, and of course on Amazon. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.